Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Arguably Correct. I'm Lindsay, and I have quite the lineup of stories today. So we're just going to get right into it. This is from the Am I Overreacting subreddit. Am I overreacting? My boyfriend naps ridiculously long every day. Okay. Okay, I know this title makes me sound like some controlling psycho hovering over a peacefully sleeping man, banging a spoon on a pot to wake him up solely for my own attention. But that's not what this is, LOL. My 25 female, boyfriend 26 male, is typically super energetic, wakes up early, goes to sleep at a normal time, but can also happily stay up until 3 to 4 a.m. when he wants. He is obsessed with the gym, and if you've ever met a gym man, I'm sure you know of the inevitable steroid interest they will eventually take on. Well, he is fully in it. He's been taking them for about a year now, and there have been some other changes we have had to discuss over this past little while, but I don't know how to get through to him on this one. For a little preface, he does nap occasionally, even off steroids, but for a few hours, a normal cat nap, nothing crazy. Now, he wakes up at 9 a.m. instead of his typical 6 a.m., nothing too major, but he rushes to get his work done because he owns his own business, and the second he is done, usually around noon, he goes right to bed. He usually wakes up from his nap around 9 p.m. and then goes back to bed a couple hours later. My God. The main reason this bothers me is there have been many times that we've had plans or something important to do or whatever it may be, and when it comes to the time to go, he is asleep. Again, I don't hover. I don't want to be nagging after waking him up, reminding him of our every plan. I don't know if I'm crazy to say this, but I think if someone makes a plan with you, they should make it happen. Regardless of a nap, set an alarm, put a reminder, I don't know, just saying. The long napping and missed plans started happening when he began taking the steroids. Coincidence? Anytime I try to bring up the correlation between the two, he brushes it off in a way that insinuates there's no way I could even be saying that because there's no correlation. Like I'm ridiculous to say that because it makes no sense. I think that makes a good amount of sense. He doesn't get mad. He just says it's funny that I could even think that way and he's just tired, that's all. Anyway, am I overreacting? Is this worth a mention? I hope it's apparent that my main worry is that the steroids are affecting him in a negative way, but I sometimes feel the way I say it could be taken in a mean way. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm writing this now at 9:30 p.m. We had dinner plans at 8, but I'm sure you already know what he's doing. And she puts a crying laughing face. I would not be laughing. I'd be pissed. So yeah, I would be saying things in a mean way too, because it's affecting your relationship and your day-to-day life. And it's not normal. I'd be like, you need to go to the doctor and get whatever testing they do for male hormones and I don't know, blood work, something, because that's a lot of sleep. Like a lot of sleep. It's over 12. It's like, it sounds like it's over like, it's definitely over 12 hours. It's more like 15 at like he's only awake for a couple hours a day. That's crazy. Let's see what some of the comments say. Someone says, definitely thyroid test is in order. That's probably not a bad idea, but I'm thinking the more obvious thing here is the steroids. That's when this kind of started. Obviously, it's probably related to that. Are you saying his midday nap is 9 hours and then he sleeps more? Something is clearly wrong and the gear seems like a likely culprit. Since he doesn't see this as a problem, you have to make a decision whether that's what you want to live with. If he's willing to look into it, he should go to a physician who can test his testosterone, thyroid function, and liver function. Something has gone awry. Is he potentially depressed? Yeah, no, you're not overreacting. That's crazy. Moving on. This is from the wedding shaming subreddit. Never thought I'd have something to post, but here we are. Wedding invitation for my husband's lifelong friend's son's wedding. We've been married 35 years. We have hosted father of the groom many, many times as an overnight guest for decades. Hosted both father of the groom and mother of the groom in our home for several days just last fall. Father of the groom attended my 25-person wedding. He wasn't with the mother at the time. Attended their destination wedding years ago in Vegas, and they don't live in Vegas, so they had to travel. So who gets invited to this 400 guest black tie wedding? husband and guest. Guest is the name of the person who cooked, cleaned, planned, and hosted dozens of days and nights over the years. Someone please stop me from signing the card I'm buying and the check I'm writing as best wishes from the husband and guest. Edit to add, we have already sent the kids a generous honeymoon gift and heartfelt wishes. Edit to add, thank you all for your varied okay. Thank you all for a lot of actually, we're not going to read that yet. Thank you all for a lot of varied answers to this and all your funny stories. To answer a couple questions, my name is Anne, if that helps. Nothing too difficult. Yes, we've spent time with the son a bit, but not a huge amount. Clearly, the invite was at the parents' direction with names and addresses. And I absolutely get the parents' friends getting invited to the kids' wedding issue. And I agree. It's the son's wedding. Parents don't dictate guest lists. And I don't blame the kids at all. I'm always on the kids' side of this argument. It's the guest you've known for 35 years that made me LOL. And no, it's not that serious, just a funny story. I feel like people were probably mean to her in the comments, and that's why she's kind of trying to soften that up, because that's disrespectful. That's rude. My parents have friends that they've been friends with my entire life, longer than 35 years. And if I ever sent them a invitation, husband and guest, wife and get whatever, that's disrespectful. Like, especially when you know who the person is, even though the son doesn't have like a close relationship with them, it's still rude. You don't do that to anyone. I mean, regardless, you just put the person, unless you don't know if they're bringing a guest, but if you know who they're bringing, they're married for 35 years. No, I think that's tacky, if anything. But let's see. And if you're inviting 400 people, it sounds like that's kind of the wedding that it is, where it's all the parents, friends, all the extended relatives, whatever. So that's not that weird that that you just want her name printed on the invitation. You clearly know it if they've been around for that long. Anyway, that's tacky. Moving on. Let's see. Ooh. Okay, this next story is from the Am I the A-hole subreddit. Am I the a-hole for telling a mother her son isn't welcome in my yoga studio's adult classes anymore? Well, is he an adult? Let's see. My name is Rachel, 52 female. I own a small yoga studio in a college town in New Hampshire. We offer adult classes, prenatal, and a kids class twice a week. One of the rules that's been in place since I opened, posted on the website and on the sign-in sheet, is that adult classes are adults only. Simple rule. It's not a studio, not a gym. There's nowhere for a kid to go while a parent is on a mat. A few months ago, a woman started coming to my 9 a.m. power flow with her son, who was maybe 8. First time I figured it was a one-off, she brought him with his iPad and set him up on a folded blanket against the back wall. I spoke to her after class, explained the policy, offered her the schedule for our kids' classes, and a flyer from the community center's drop-in child care down the street. She said her son was on the spectrum and can't be left with strangers, and that she really needed this hour. I told her I hear her, but the class isn't a suitable space for him. Gotta follow the rules. She came back the next week, same thing. iPad at full volume for 3 minutes before I had to go mute it. Oh, absolutely not. Then the class after that went sideways. The boy was bored, which was fair, and started running laps at the back of the studio. Then he knocked over the rack of blocks. Then he was crying and slapping the window. I stopped class and went over to the mom. She said, he just needs to move. Please give him a minute. I said, he can't stay in this class. She said, you can't do this. He has needs. Another student at the back said something sharp. I don't remember what, but it got ugly. I told her she needed to leave and that going forward, the 9 a.m. wasn't open to her if her son needed to be with her. I also, for the record, offered to comp her a month of our kids' class for him and a pass to our prenatal. She'd mentioned that she was trying again. She said that was insulting and left. Is this like the Entitled People subreddit? Because it should be on there. She's been posting in the town Facebook group about how our studio isn't inclusive and doesn't support special needs families. 2 of my regulars have said they're canceling over it. I love kids. I raised 3, but my adult class isn't the place for one. Am I the a-hole? The fact that 2 of your regulars are canceling over this does make me question, is there more that OP is leaving out? Just because, I don't know, if they're your regulars and I was an adult in the adults only class, I wouldn't want it to be disrupted by a child. Like, She let it go the first week. It was fine. You did it the second week, and there was a bit of an incident with the child. And now that's not fair to the other adults who pay to be in this class. So I don't think you're the a-hole. You also, it seems like you did something very generous. You offered to comp her a month of two or one class and gave her a pass to another. I mean, you got to follow the rules. You can't be entitled. The world should have children in it, and we all need to definitely, like, that's a beautiful part of this world, but not at your yoga class where people are going to unwind and relax. And it's an adults only class. You just need to follow the rules. It's that simple, actually. We don't need to get that deep. It's just that simple. Moving on. Am I the a-hole for refusing to take off my engagement ring during a wedding? Why would you have to take off your engagement ring during a wedding? Let's see. Throwaway account and using mobile disclaimers. I'm meant to be attending the wedding of Tilly and Peter next month. They are friends of my fiance, and we have hung out plenty of times over the past few years. They got engaged around 18 months ago, and we got engaged 3 months ago. My engagement ring stone is a light blue sapphire. In photographs, however, it looks a lot darker. This is relevant. We met up with Tilly and Peter last weekend, which incidentally was the first time seeing them in person since we got engaged. When they asked to see the ring, Tilly noted that it was much lighter than the photos that we share. Peter agreed, and a little while later, after the conversation had turned to something else, Tilly asked if we remembered that the bridesmaid's dress color was a very pale blue. My fiance is a groomsman, so we knew this, as he's wearing a matching tie. Peter said that they were hoping that only the wedding party was going to wear that color, which was included on the invites. He said that having a ring in that shade was no excuse to be breaking the rules. This was said humorously, so my fiance and I both laughed, and I assured them that I'm most likely wearing something darker and not blue anyway. Tilly then said that Peter was talking around the issue and that I wouldn't be able to wear my engagement ring at their wedding because it was too close to their shade of blue. Give me a break. No. Revoke my invite because I'm not coming. She said that she'd already had to make sure a family member wasn't going to wear a necklace with similar gemstones for the same reason. A discussion ensued as both my partner and I said that it seemed quite strong to be asking me not to wear my ring. Outside of sleeping and bathing, I've barely taken it off since the proposal. Tilly and Peter were insistent that I would be creating drama by wearing it. And if anything, it suggested that I was trying to steal focus away from them and the wedding party. Is she out of her mind? I had made it clear that I had zero intention of doing that, but also that the ring was not going to retract from a bride and groom at the end of the aisle. At one point, my partner was even accused of proposing to me as a way of taking more attention from them during their wedding timeline. These are not your friends. No, immediately no. We got engaged on our 7-year anniversary during the middle of a once-in-a-lifetime holiday, so I am sure it was not just to detract from his friends getting married. We left it at a stalemate and anticipate that either just me or both of us will be uninvited, which is no issue to me at this stage. I do want to know if I'm the a-hole, though, as especially for my fiance and Peter, they've been friends for over a decade, and it would hurt him if he misses his friend getting married over something so trivial. I don't think this is trivial. These are not your friends. They're your competitors. They're competing with you while you're just going about your life. If they think you wearing your engagement ring is going to steal the spotlight from them at their wedding, then they have bigger problems about their wedding that they should be focusing on. Yeah, not the a-hole. If a single ring will steal the spotlight from the wedding party, they must have the personality and charisma of a bucket of plaster. Honestly, someone says, goodness, I hope no one with blue eyes attends. Not the a-hole. Worrying about something as small as a ring is ridiculous. That is crazy. Yeah, no, you are not the a-hole. And I would not be going to that wedding in the first place. There goes that friendship. And it is that serious. Okay, moving on. This one it's from the Entitled People subreddit. Finally, I mean, I feel like maybe that there was a theme here, unknowingly. There was a theme here because they all could have so far fell under the Entitled People subreddit. Free food? My wife and I have the questionable habit of feeding strays. We have bird feeders all over our property, put out cookies for the squirrels, and leave food and water in our backyard for any strays that wander by. The latter is the reason I'm writing this. So I put out a fresh bowl of dry food and a large pan of water every day between 5 and 6 in the evening. I go out every morning and refill the water bowl and toss whatever food remains into my yard, usually just crumbs. A week ago, my wife took out some trash and when she returned, asked me if I'd forgotten to put out food. I walked outside and sure enough, the food bowl was empty. Well, I'm retired, so maybe I forgot. I refilled it and went back inside. The thing is, it happened every night for the rest of the week. I made a point of double checking before going to bed and the damn bowl was always empty. Cut to the chase, and it turns out our new neighbor had noticed our habit of leaving food out for strays. So, not wanting to turn down a boon to her budget, she was putting her little dog in a harness and lowering him over the fence separating our yards. Then she'd let out slack on the rope until he could reach our back porch, let him empty the bowl, and then reel him back in. So she's hoisting her dog. I will say that this is very disturbing, but I almost thought he was going to say she was taking it and like eating it herself. And that was going to be a much sadder version of this story, but more sad, sadder. I don't know. Whatever. I'm leaving that in. I don't care. Once I caught her at it, we had a brief conversation. If you can use the word to describe me asking questions at a reasonable volume and her screaming nonsense for replies. Finally, I called her landlord, a friend of a friend, and asked if he could have a word with her. Just let her know that this is not how to be a good neighbor. He listened to me and then said, she has a dog. Turns out he doesn't rent to people with dogs. Cats, yes. Dogs, no. He drove over there and caught her with her dog in the living room. Now she has 30 days to move out. Not my finest moment, but how was I to know that the guy would do that? Well, how are you to know that she wasn't allowed to have dogs? That's not really your fault. This is just a really crappy coincidence for her because it's a bit extreme that she now has to like move out of her. But like that's a big undertaking for 30. That's a lot. It's a lot. We all know. I don't have to get really into that, but she shouldn't have been doing that. You do the wrong thing and this is the consequences of your own actions. Like I do feel sorry. I hope she's able to like land on her feet and she's okay, but just because I'm a human and I'm not evil, but also don't do things like this. Don't be an entitled, crappy person and then wonder why crappy things happen to you, you know? So, no, you're not the a-hole. Or I don't even think you were asking that, but just in case you were wondering, she's an entitled that was the Entitled People subreddit, not that, but still. Okay, moving on. This is under the advice subreddit. No one should really be taking advice from me. That's not what this is, but this one sounded good. My nearly 60-year-old dad has fallen in with a bad crowd. My dad's started going to the pub a lot more lately, and I was actually quite happy at first because it sounded like he'd finally made some new friends. He kept mentioning the boys like he's 22 again. There's one called Marcus who, by all accounts, sounds a bit rough. My dad says he's all right once you get to know him, which is never reassuring. Anyway, recently my dad's been coming in late, like properly late. And a couple of times now, he's just casually said they all went egging after the pub. Does egging mean it sounds like they're maybe not in the US, so I'm hoping egging means something else. Egging as in throwing eggs at houses, so no, it does not. It means the same exact thing. These are men in their late 30s. The first time I thought he was joking, but he fully doubled down and even started telling me which street they went to like it was a normal hobby. Apparently Marcus is usually the one suggesting it, which tracks because he sounds like a bad influence. What to do in this situation? Should I just let him enjoy his new friendship group? What if he gets arrested? Edit to add, thanks for all your comments. There is absolutely nothing cognitively wrong with him. He's just always enjoyed a laugh and a few drinks, but hadn't been going out much since COVID. I guess he's just enjoying himself again, but still concerned he's hanging out with some of the rougher blokes in the town. I mean, he's just, what is he egging? What are they egging? And why? Someone comments, at least he can't get pregnant. Oh my God. Egging in this economy? Yeah, that's a good point. Eggs are expensive. Someone says, he's 60 if he can afford to egg houses. I don't know what to make of that. Why are they doing it? And there needs to be more context. Like, whose houses are they egging? Why? That's a little bit much, Dad. You gotta pump the brakes on that. Remind him that most homes have doorbell cameras now. If there isn't a video of him from the front, there's a video from the back or recordings of them coming and going. He's gonna get caught eventually, and when he does, he can't say you didn't warn him. Yeah, that's a good point. Duh. You should just like remind him, maybe because he's a little bit older. I mean, he's really not. What is he, 50, 60? He probably has one on his own house. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, my nearly 60-year-old dad. So, I don't know, maybe just remind him of that. Don't do that. I don't know. That is weird. This poor person. Moving on. All right, that one was kind of funny at least. Let's see. This is like a hot topic. I'm probably going to have maybe. This is a hot topic. This is under the would I be the a-hole, am I the a-hole subreddit. Am I the a-hole for refusing to split the bill for a pile of appetizers I didn't even touch? I, 24 female, went out with a group of 6 friends last Friday to a local sports bar to catch a game. When we sat down, 2 of the guys in the group immediately started ordering huge platters of wings, nachos, and sliders for the table without really asking anyone else what they wanted. That's not how you order things for the table, really. I had eaten a late lunch, so I just ordered a small salad and a drink for myself. I made it pretty clear when the food arrived that I wasn't hungry for snacks, and I literally didn't touch a single wing or nacho the entire night. I just sat there eating my salad while they demolished everything else. When the check came, the planners of the group just did the quick math and said, okay, it's $45 each. I looked at the bill and my salad plus drink only came to about $18, including tax and tip. I told them I was just going to pay for my own order since I didn't eat any of the shared stuff. The mood immediately shifted and they started calling me a buzzkill and saying that splitting the bill is just what friends do to keep things simple. One guy even made a comment that I was being difficult over $25 and that it makes the math harder for everyone else. You have a calculator in your pocket. It's not hard. I stood my ground and only put down enough to cover my actual meal. They ended up having to recalculate everything and it got awkward real fast. Since then, the group chat has been weirdly quiet and I found out today that they went out for drinks last night without inviting me. I feel like I'm being punished for not wanting to subsidize their massive appetite, but maybe I should have just sucked it up to keep the peace. So am I the a-hole for not wanting to pay for food I never touched? Okay. So this is like, you can debate this a million and one different ways, honestly. I am a firm believer in you just split it evenly. I think that's usually in situations where everyone is kind of ordering in the same ballpark. Like if you're out with your girl, like if we're out and we're getting dinner and drinks and we both had a couple drinks. Doesn't need to be the same number. Like, that's tacky. We're not counting here. Okay. So I do think, like, yeah, sometimes you do just suck it up and pay the $45. But in this situation, it sounds a little different. It sounds like maybe these were like some, like, you're at a sports bar. These are 2 of the guys of the group ordering all this stuff. That would be an instant turnoff for me. Like, that would really put me off that, like, you guys ordered all this food. I didn't eat it. I'm a 24-year-old girl. I didn't eat it. Don't expect me to pay the same amount. You're like supposed to, I don't know. But then that's kind of touchy because also I probably would just pay the money. Like I probably wouldn't think twice about it. I'd just be like, okay, whatever. So I don't know. Like a discussion needs to be had before, or like if you're unclear as friends, I guess I'm very unsure on this because I don't have these issues because we're all usually on the same page about stuff like this. It's kind of expected. Or like just understood. I've never had to have these conversations, thankfully, but that's probably because I align myself and hang out with people that are pretty much like the same way in that regard. So I don't know. You could argue this either way. I don't think you're the a-hole for not wanting to pay for food that you've touched. Actually, just recently we went out and it was a similar situation where my 2 brothers, they came out with us and they don't eat like the foods that I ordered. So that we all ordered. So they paid a little less. Like that was just like fair. So even if you just pay, maybe if she could have just contributed maybe like 25 or like $30. Yeah, $30. Like shave 15 off for her. Like, hey, we know you didn't touch it. That might be more fair. I don't know. If I was the person like handling the bill, I would offer that up front, like, or just say like, hey, like, I know, I don't know. Actually, probably I wouldn't, because that's kind of tacky too. I don't know. There needs to be an understanding before you do things like this. Sometimes you do spend a little bit more when you do these things, because that's kind of what just makes it nice to go out with your friends and you're not nickel and diming everything, you know? So that was very long-winded, and I feel like I got nowhere. I don't think you're the a-hole, but I do think you probably should have been like, hey, I'll give $30 or something like that. I don't know. I'm not gonna continue here. We gotta move on. We gotta move on. Let's see. Okay, I have another one from the advice subreddit. So this one, it says, should I expect my boyfriend to pay bills? Yeah, let's read it though. So a little backstory, but I want to keep it short because this is the third time I've wrote this. I didn't know if I wanted advice or not, but here I am. To begin, I am 21 female and live with my mother in her house. She recently bought this house about 4 months ago. It's a fairly expensive house in this economy. At the time, she had a stable, well-paying job to rely on. She no longer has that job nor an income currently. My boyfriend, 25 male, and I have been together for about 6 months. We don't tend to worry about money much or who pays for what unless it's a vacation. He does pay for our dinners or nights out and had paid for my girly activities like nails, but only like once or twice. Ever since my mom lost her job 2 months ago, her boyfriend and I have been stepping up to pay the bills and to make sure we keep the house and food while she tries to find another job in her field. My boyfriend has not offered anything, not a single dime, and he knows she is struggling and I have been stepping up. He has never in the past 4 months offered anything regarding payment for living here. The reason I'm saying this is because he has lived in my home since the day we moved in. He has a closet to himself. He showers here every day. He also eats here when I cook, groceries that I pay for. He works, he makes good money. And so do I. So we aren't in the house 24/7, but every morning and every afternoon we are here and on weekends. Also, he keeps the AC at 69 and we live in Florida, so it's hot, so my AC runs all the time. The bill is around $300 for the whole house. I finally said something about it today because it's been upsetting me. A flaw on my end is I did kind of say along the lines, you need to pay half of this bill, instead of asking if he could. But the point is, I brought up a bill to him and he gave me a hard time about it. His replies were basically, I can just leave and go back to my house, his parents' house, or I'm not paying for that, or I'm never here, which is a lie. This obviously has upset me, so we got into a small disagreement about it. He later tried to blame it on the fact that I demanded he pay a bill. Currently, I'm upset about this and kind of feeling distance from him. This is also about my mother, who I love dearly. We are supposed to move together in 4 months and split bills. What should I do, or does anybody have any advice? First of all, regardless if the mother is employed or not, there probably should have been a conversation about what you're paying to live there or what you're contributing. Maybe everyone takes a bill, some kind of thing. So you got off on the wrong foot without like establishing that. But I could also see how that just goes. Like the mom just bought this house and you guys move in and she didn't really need the money at first. So it wasn't a conversation. So giving that some grace. But now, I mean, you guys have only been together for 6 months and he is basically living there. I understand. It's like that, like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I could just go home to like my parents' house. This is just you guys are young, 21 and 25. This is just like a lack of communicating. As you get older, you get better at communicating these things. Like when my fiance and I, when we were first dating and I lived somewhere else, I mean, we were basically always together, whether it was my house or his house. Like it kind of went back and forth. And I had a roommate, my cousin, and we both had this very similar situation where our significant others were kind of always there or and that was how we were fine with it. And now that I'm thinking of it, I guess like I never expected him to pay any bills. I never would accept that. I didn't expect it, and I wouldn't accept it because it was my plate, like my cousin and I's place. Now I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't know. It's only 6 months, so I don't think that he has to pay. I don't actually. I don't think that you should expect him to pay bills. I do think like if you guys see a long-term future together, and he is decent, like if I were him, if I was him in this situation, I would probably be like, hey, what can I contribute? I would probably do that without even asking. Like maybe I'd pick up groceries or offer to pick up a water bill or an electric bill or something like that, especially if he's keeping the AC. Like that might be like a nice compromise. Hey, I don't want to pay money towards this mortgage because I'm not on any paperwork, but like I'll pay the electric bill or whatever the AC bill is. Electric, I guess. Yeah, I mean, there is definitely, this is just a bad way of communicating. No one's communicating the right way. And that's the issue here. Not so much. I'm sure if you just said, like, hey, we're just going through like a rough time and we're really here all the time, it would kind of be nice if you could help contribute. Maybe that would have went over better. But sometimes people don't automatically come to the same conclusions as easily as others, which he probably should have offered. He should be offering to pay for things, but I kind of feel like he's a 25-year-old guy. He doesn't, you got to tell him. He doesn't know. He's not going to, he doesn't know. He still lives at home with his parents. He's not going to offer to step up and start paying bills around the house if you're not communicating the right way. I'm just saying that's the reality here. Yeah, all the comments pretty much say the same things. We don't need to read them. Sometimes I feel like the comments get a little bit redundant and I don't need to keep repeating myself. I do that enough probably. So moving on. Am I the a-hole? Our adult daughter is constantly asking for financial help. Our daughter, 20 years old, is constantly asking us to loan her money. We've helped her much more than we've helped our other two adult children. She didn't move out until this year, which is fine, but it is 2 years longer than her brothers and sister had, and I'm always lending her money. This past weekend, she watched our animals, one dog, one cat, while we were out of town Friday through Sunday, and I paid her $100. Keep in mind, she was supposed to care for our animals until late Sunday night. But instead, she put them outside with food and water because she decided to go to an amusement park. $89 for an all-day ticket, and knew she wouldn't be around to let them out to potty. Well, this evening she stopped by and asked if we could start helping her pay for groceries. Yikes. She's struggling to make ends meet and just needs some essentials. I asked her if she had any money left from the $100 I had just given her on Friday, to which she replied, of course not. I went to an amusement park and out to Cane's fast food 4 times, so all of my money is gone. I told her that I would be happy to pay her some money if she could help me with some projects around the house, but she did not like that idea. Basically, she thinks it's only fair for us to chip in helping her pay for her specific lifestyle rather than her make changes to her lifestyle. So are we the a-holes for refusing to help her until we see her making smarter choices with her money? Edit, multiple people are asking the same question, so I'll add a few more details. Our daughter works full-time and makes $18 an hour. We did not kick her or our other kids out at 18. Each of them decided and when they wanted to move out. Additionally, they know the door is always open should they decide to return. She has had a job from the time she was 16. We encouraged all of our kids to work summers, but we didn't like them working during the school year. This daughter wanted to work during the school year in addition to summers. This is mostly due to the fact that we only pay a set amount of money for back to school clothing. For example, she wanted the $100 jeans, not the $50 jeans. Is she the youngest child? Did they say that? Yeah. Our other two adult children, so they must be older than her, even though 20 is an adult. But yeah, so she's the youngest. I don't have children, so I'm going to be very gentle with this, but I'm the eldest daughter. So I have a different perspective on situations like this, and I'm sure that she was just babied and spoiled, and this is like the lifestyle that you kind of let her think that she could live. Like you have to, this type of like attitude and behavior doesn't start overnight. That much I do know. So it, you got to put your foot down and she's got to get a grip. And if she needs a little help, I get that. She's 20. I don't know where they live. I guess that maybe doesn't matter as much as it probably doesn't matter as much, but she's got to get better at budgeting. Like you spent $89 on a ticket to an amusement park. You probably should, if you have your own place and you have bills and you can't afford groceries, then you probably shouldn't have went to the amusement park and got fast food 4 times because fast food is not cheap. Maybe back in the day, it was definitely a little bit more reasonable, but like fast food is expensive. So I don't think you're the a-hole for this. I think she probably needs to just learn more like responsibility and financial responsibility. And you probably bail her out all the time. So she's just like, oh, I'm just going to hit up my parents for money. That's how that happens. You know, you guys have to be definitely like a united front. One parent can't be giving her money and then the other parent putting their foot down. That much I do know as a child, but yeah, I don't know. This sounds like she's a 20-year-old kid that she's the youngest, and you're not the a-hole, but you got to figure it out because you don't want to create a bad adult, like a bad, entitled, crappy adult. And that is the path that could easily, I mean, I'm not going to go to extremes here, but you don't want it to go that way. And it very well could. So I don't know. That's rough. Kids are rough. I know, because I was definitely a rough kid. Moving on. Okay, this next post comes from the mildly infuriating subreddit. A friend of mine is mildly infuriated that he can't keep his neighbors awake until midnight anymore. My friend was venting to me today about his nightmare, quote unquote, nightmare neighbors in his new upscale neighborhood. He bought a fixer-upper, and since he has a contractor's license, he's been doing the renovations himself. The issue? He's been power tooling and hammering away until midnight for several days straight. Naturally, the neighbors called the police. He was indignant, telling me, I'm the homeowner. I have the right to work on my own property whenever I want. The next night, they called again, claiming he was working without a permit. He got to have his gotcha moment by waving his license and permits in their faces. Apparently, the town's old ordinance didn't actually specify quiet hours for homeowners doing DIY work. The neighbors eventually tried to talk to him reasonably to ask for a ceasefire after 9 p.m. His response? He basically told them to F off because he technically wasn't breaking any laws. Well, the neighbors didn't take that sitting down. They spent the last week lobbying the town council, and they actually got the noise ordinance changed. Now, work has to stop by 8 p.m. My friend is absolutely livid that they infringed on his rights, but I'm sitting here mildly infuriated that he thinks being a licensed contractor makes it okay to be a world-class jerk to his new neighbors. That's crazy. What a great way to make enemies. And then you have to live there. It's not like it doesn't sound anyway like he's doing this just to flip the house. I mean, maybe he is, and maybe that's why he's doing what he's doing, but I would not be this person's friend. Yeah, I would not be this person's friend. I would be like, you need to get off your high horse here, dude. What a bad neighbor. These are the neighbors that I never wish to have. Okay, this next story is from Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for refusing to grill food until it's destroyed? I like grilling, and I grill most of the meat I eat. I'm not very good at it or a food snob by any means. I've grilled for other people my entire life. Recently, I've made a new friend, Mike. Mike and I have drastically different ideas about how one should behave when others grill, and it is creating a rift in an otherwise perfectly good friendship. For context, he's Spanish in his 50s, and I'm Caucasian in my 30s. When Mike grills, I eat everything I'm offered. I never specify how I want it done or how he should do it. He's made chicken legs, tri-tip, burgers, and hot dogs. He often remarks that he overcooked it but is happy with the result. I agree that it's overdone, but I never say anything. His food is covered in burns and often needs to be shaken or scraped before anyone can eat it. It tastes fine though, and I never complain. Okay. When I grill, Mike doesn't eat unless I cook it how he thinks it should be cooked. He's turned down chicken legs, bratwurst, burgers, and ribs. He'll watch me eat it. I'll show him the inside is completely cooked. He's even seen me get the temperature with a thermometer to prove that it's safe. He'll only eat it if I leave it on the grill until it's completely blackened. The last time I grilled, I told him I refused to continue grilling when I was done and the food was ready. I suggested he could stay at the grill to continue cooking some of the food to his satisfaction, but I wasn't doing it anymore. I said it felt like I was destroying perfectly good food, and I was offended he wouldn't even try it before declaring it inedible. I don't like that he expects me to act like a personal chef when I grill. I don't think it's a big deal to try eating something out of your comfort zone. I would feel differently if he tried something I grilled and said he didn't like it. Am I the a-hole? You're not the a-hole. I think this is like a personal preference thing. Also, I think people probably look for, like, I love a charred piece of meat, but that doesn't mean it's overcooked on the inside. That's like when you cook it on a charcoal grill, maybe, or it's just prepared differently. There's words for it, right? I'm a cooker. I cook inside. I don't really grill that much, but I can get by. So, but there's also like non-negotiable, like chicken. There is no like medium chicken. It's got to be cooked through. And I do understand, like, I don't want it unless I do like my chicken probably not overly cooked because it's never dry. My chicken's never dry, but it does need to go the extra 10, 15 minutes. Like when I think it's done, it needs to go a little bit longer. Not the breasts. Breasts, I'm very fussy with. I'm different, but like with the dark meat, you can kind of push it a little. I don't like it when it has a certain like wet texture inside, I guess. Like it's juicy, but not spongy wet. I don't know how to keep describing this without grossing all of us out, so I'm going to stop here. But yeah, OP says, edit, thanks everyone for your contribution. I think the general consensus is that I'm the a-hole. Oh, I didn't think that. I didn't think that you're the a-hole. You're just not overcooking the food. And you said that, I mean, okay, but then again, wait. You have guests at your house. This is a guest. I guess I lost sight of that. You have a guest. You need to accommodate your guest. However, my guest wants their food cooked, I'm going to cook it that way. So yeah, you are the a-hole, actually. I changed my mind. I know you're not like giving him raw meat, but whatever it is, if it just takes you an extra 5-10 minutes to ensure that he's going to be satisfied with it while he's at your house as a guest, then that's what I'm going to do. So this happens to me quite a bit where I get like halfway through the story and then I'm like, wait, I think I forgot like the main points here. And then I rewatch when I'm editing and I'm like, oh my God, I don't really even know how much I agree with myself anymore. So I'm trying to get better at remembering each section. Like, I mean, I remember, but I hyper fixate on like one part of the story, and then I tend to make my judgment based on that. So I'm working on it. If you catch that in some of these videos, just know that I'm working on it. But yeah, so you might be a little bit of the a-hole because it's your guest and you need to accommodate a guest and don't be rude. He cooks, but then again, it sounds like this guy just cooks how he wants to cook at his house. What do you think? That's what I need to know. On a lot of these stories, truly, I need to hear other people's feedback and comments because I can kind of go either way. Like it has to be, I'm very understanding and I love to give people the benefit of the doubt. A lot of these stories lack context, so that also makes it hard for me. So please drop your thoughts and comments in the comment section. I definitely read all of them because that's what I'm here for. I want to hear what you have to say. And I really appreciate everybody watching these videos. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It does help. I hate saying that, but it does help. I'm trying to boost my channel a little bit here. I got to get a lot of more episodes up on Spotify, but I will have them on Spotify soon. So I have one up so far, but I need to do that. Again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time. And I want to do, so my next video, I think I'm going to do, Am I the Devil subreddit, because that's crazy. We're going to get into that. I read some and I'm like, okay, no, I need to make like a whole video on that. I don't want to just sprinkle them in. So Am I the Devil is going to be next. If you have any suggestions for upcoming videos, please let me know. I appreciate everybody watching. Have a nice rest of your weekend. Okay, bye.